Hello and welcome to this Come to Jesus Daily devotional. This week we've been considering what Jesus' teaching on remaining in the vine from John 15 means for us personally. And today's devotional is entitled "To Abide in Christ is to Choose His Way." Let's read from John 15, 1-8. "I'm the true vine, my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit he prunes, so that it will be even more fruitful. You are already clean because of the word I have spoken to you. Remain in me, as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself, it must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. If you do not remain in me, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire and burned. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. This is to my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples." What's today's lesson? To remain in the vine involves choosing to do Jesus' will. To remain in the vine involves choosing to do Jesus' will. Yesterday we saw that to remain in the vine is fundamentally about putting our faith and keeping our faith in Jesus. And today I want us to see that it also involves obeying Jesus. Every day we're tempted to do things according to our will, in our way. We're tempted with anger over patience, rudeness over loving words, boasting in self over serving with humility. We could go on, couldn't we? Road rage. I don't know what your particular struggles are, but we're all tempted, aren't we, by the flesh and sin. And the Bible is full of stories that teach us against making bad choices that have not been weighed as to whether or not they're God's will and His way of doing things. To remain in the vine involves a willingness to do things in God's way. Jesus equates remaining in the vine with doing His will when He says, "If you remain in me and my words remain in you." To remain in Christ is to allow His words to remain in us. And what does it mean for His words to remain in us? We believe them and we do them. Every time we pray, "Your kingdom come, your will be done," and actually live that out, we're making a choice to remain in the vine. Whenever we reject temptation and embrace righteousness, we are remaining in Christ. We lose connection with the vine when we choose to do things in a way that go against Jesus' will and His way of doing things. Paul contrasts the fruit of the Spirit with the fruit of the flesh. He writes in Galatians 5:19-21, "The acts of the flesh," or we could say the fruit of the flesh, is obvious: sexual immorality, impurity, debauchery, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, discord, jealousy, fits of rage, selfish ambition, dissensions, factions, envy, drunkenness, orgies, and the like. I warn you, as I did before, that those who live like this will not inherit the kingdom of God. These are the opposite to the fruit of the Spirit that He produces in us. It's striking and sobering to hear from that reading in Galatians, those who live like this will not inherit the kingdom of God. Those who live like this as a way of life, they're not repentant, will go to hell. They'll be judged. They will not enter the kingdom of God. It's very sobering, isn't it? But I hope we can see that this is just a different way of expressing Jesus' warning from our text in John 15, where we read, "If you do not remain in me, you are like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire, and burned." So I hope we can see that obedience to Jesus Christ is not optional. It's never perfect, of course. The Father is pruning us. We're growing, but we know it's important, don't we? If we think, I just want to go to a church that doesn't challenge me, I just want to listen to Bible studies that don't challenge me, then I think there's something wrong with our faith. Jesus, to remain in the vine, involves obedience to Jesus. In John 15, our Father is described as a gardener who prunes us of these kinds of things that we read in Galatians. True branches that are in the vine will desire to and will increasingly be rid of these fruits of the flesh. They will bear the fruit of the Spirit increasingly. So, in response, to remain in the vine involves choosing to do Jesus' will. If we are to be pruned of bad fruit and grow in more good fruits, it's imperative that we listen to Jesus and seek to live his way. Our remaining in the vine involves the simple act of saying no to sin and yes to righteousness. Jesus reveals very clearly that it's his will that we remain in him by keeping his commands. Here are, as we come to an end, 3 references from John that speak directly to this truth. John 14:15, Jesus says, "If you love me, keep my commands." Hope we can see that. To remain in the vine means that we keep his commands. John 14:21, "Whoever has my commands and keeps them is the one who loves me. The one who loves me will be loved by my Father, and I too will love him, and show myself to them." Finally, John 14:26, "But the Advocate, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, will teach you all things and will remind you of everything I have said to you." To remain in the vine involves choosing to do Jesus' will. God bless you.